G'day guys, how are you? I'm Project 33 and we are going to go through the top 5 bug out vehicles for people on an extreme budget.
Zombie apocalypse.
So what exactly is a bug out vehicle? And now we're talking about cars for someone on a budget here, so there's not going to be any Hiluxes or Land Cruisers or Patrols. Here in Australia they're worth big dollars, they're worth many dollars. And the ones you can get for cheap, you don't want them because you cannot get them registered. That's one of the rules we'll be going into about bug out vehicles. What else we got? Oh yeah, what does a bug out vehicle need to do? Well, it needs to get from point A to point B reliably, and it also needs to do it fuel efficiently and tow a whole heap of crap behind it. Now, bug out vehicles, can you fix it yourself? Or do you need a mechanic to fix it for you? More than likely you'll need a mechanic. How easy is it to fix? What are the parts like? How expensive are the parts? How available are the parts? Will a mechanic be able to do it in a couple of hours, a couple of days? These are all part of it. Now, the car also needs to be registered, or be able to be registered. If you think you're just going to be just jumping in the car, heading on Esther's place without without registration, think again. Just look at the last state of emergency we had. People were locked in their homes, they tried to leave, they tried to get out on the road. Alright, you had a legitimate reason to go from here to there. But if you didn't have registration on your car, what's a policeman's favourite food? Unregistered motor vehicles. They will flip around so fast it'll make your head spin. They will break every single road law known to man to come and get you and give you $1,500 worth of fines for being unregistered. And that the thing is, you cannot drive it from here, sir. You cannot drive it from here. And you look back and there's chaos. There's absolute chaos in the background. You go, what's all that about? Well, I'm authorised to do that. So you're the dangerous driver. So it's going to have registration. These 5 cars are going to be easily fixed and registered by a mechanic. So what do these vehicles need to do? They need to be able to handle multiple different surfaces, like terrains, and you won't always be on smooth road, but that's what you're going to be mainly dealing with, is just paved road to get from point A to point B. That's what a bug out vehicle can do, or should do. You're not going off-roading. You don't need a $100,000 Land Cruiser to go from here to there. Drive 1,000 k's on a smooth paved highway. You don't need lockers, front and rear lockers, to do that either. What else you need? You also need cargo space. You need the ability to take a lot of cargo with you. You're packing up, you're moving. Who cares why you're bugging it? You had a dream that the apocalypse is going to happen, so you sell up everything, pack up what remains into your car, and you're about to hit the road. So you're going to have to put all your life basically into your car and you're hitting the road. Or you're sick of the neighbourhood, you're getting out of a bad relationship, you just want to go head north, south, east, west, wherever. You want to get out of the place. That can also be bugging out, so it doesn't have to be an apocalyptic event. It can just be, you just want a change of scenery. So cargo space, an absolute must. Also, it has to be reliable, has to be easily fixed by a mechanic, parts have to be readily available, and it has to get you to where you're going pretty much with as little fuel as possible. I mean, it's no good having 700 horsepower if you're only going to get to the next town. That's not going to do you. That's not going to work. So fuel efficiency, that's another one. Also, you're going to need to be able to at least tow a little 4x4 trailer, because sometimes you can't fit everything into the car, or or a little pop-top caravan. Anyway, let's go with number 5 on the list. Number 5. It's a Subaru Forester. Now these are probably one of the most expensive ones on the list. They usually find them for around about $2,000 to $5,000. They're for ones that haven't been driven around and around and around and around and around the block. But they usually come cheaply because they've got like 300,000 Ks on the clock and they've done their time with the family. The family have bought something else, they want to move on. These Subaru Foresters, and I'm also going to add to the list here, equal with the Subaru Forester, the Subaru Liberty. These cars are renowned for just clocking up the Ks. Just absolutely clocking up the Ks. Trouble free. And I think they're also quite famous for being able to swap out an engine quite quickly. It can be a pain to work on yourself, but a mechanic, no trouble whatsoever. They're also the best handling cars on the list. I haven't heard of a Subaru Forester or a Subaru Liberty sliding off the road in any case. It could be pouring down rain, or a grease truck could have, spilt its load all over the road. These things will not slide out. So if you're one of these drivers who sees a corner and panics, this is the car for you. Also, they're the best for driving on dirt roads or unsealed roads. So again, if you're nervous about driving on an unsealed road, get this car. It's easy. It'll do it easy. They're rally cars. They're rally cars. And of course, they are absolutely reliable. You don't really hear these things breaking down unless you try to do something silly, which I'll get to. You can drive these across the country. 300,000 Ks is nothing for these engines. As long as you get the timing chain replaced, they'll just go and go and go. They can go as far as any taxi pack Falcon. They'll go toe to toe with a taxi, as long as you get that timing chain replaced, which a mechanic could do for you easily. The parts are pretty cheap, but servicing is a pain if you're doing it yourself. But mechanic won't have any trouble. Bad points about Subaru Forester and Liberties. Well, there's not many, except for one really main bad point. They're not really known for their towing prowess. I mean, I've seen a Subaru Forester cook itself after towing a little 4x4 trailer load of firewood. And I've heard of a couple of Subaru Outbacks also cooking themselves after trying to tow just a little pop-up caravan. But in every other aspect, these are great cars. So if you're looking for a cheap car that will go absolutely anywhere you want and get you there easily, and it can, not tow, but carry a decent amount of cargo, you can't go wrong for the price. $2,500, $3,000. Sometimes you can get them even cheaper. If you can get them even cheaper, you can throw like $500 worth of work in it. It's good to go again, and it'll pass a rego. So Subaru Forester and Subaru Liberty, number 5. Number 4 is Mitsubishi Magna. Now this is actually the second best towing car on the list, and the Mitsubishi Magnas are also the cheapest cars on the list. Nobody wants them, yet they're actually not a bad car for what they are. The only thing people don't like about them is their front wheel drive, but in every other regards they're actually not too bad. They're quick, they're fuel efficient. I've driven one a couple of times and I've got it down to 7 to the 100. Bloody Prius has struggled to match that. That's a Prius on a good day, and I got it down with a 6-cylinder Magna. They are pretty bloody quick too. The Mitsubishi Magnas, they'll get up and boogie. They are also the second best handling car on this list. Now remember, the first one was a rally car, so these actually take the corners nicely. I remember I was driving, well, not driving, hooning one through the pass at Drake, between Tenterfeld and Drake. And it was absolutely sheeting down rain. There was an inch of water over the road. And of course, I was just doing my typical self, just driving normally. And this Mitsubishi Magna did not put a foot wrong. It was only until I decided to really push the car that did it underslide into somewhere. Well, not into somewhere, into the other lane. Yeah, the Mitsubishi Magna did not put a foot wrong. It's also excellent at overtaking. I was driving back from, where was I? I was at Bundaberg. Yeah, I was at Bundaberg, just leaving Bundaberg. And I was stuck behind these 5 cars. 2 were a car towing a caravan. There was 2 behind that. So there's actually 4 cars. But I pulled out and I saw a safe gap to overtake these 2 cars. And I gave this bloody Magna what for. And it overtook these 2 cars like they were going backwards. And I made it to the safe gap and I said, oh, I might as well just keep going. I did. I overtook the caravan and the car in the same thing and still had plenty of room to pull in. So they are absolutely phenomenal when it comes to overtaking. I imagine a lot of Falcon and Commodore drivers have fallen victim to this. Bad points about Mitsubishi Magna. Well, they're not that reliable. Well, they are reliable, but not as reliable as the other cars on this list. I mean, yeah, they can rack up the Ks, but things always... it might have just been my experience with them, but I've seen these things crab walk up the street because, you know, someone's clipped the gutter or they had the apprentice on when they were aligning the wheels or giving the suspension aligning, whatever. And I've had one break down because the fuel injector got stuck open, it wouldn't bloody start, or fuel filters got clogged, fuel pumps broke down, or another long list of issues. They are an absolute nightmare to work on yourself. I mean, mechanics just laugh at these things. Well, they're trained mechanics after all. But to do it yourself, just to do a service, you have to disassemble half the damn motor. Literally, you know, to get some of the spark plugs up the back, you have to disassemble a bloody motor. So, a nightmare. Yeah, another thing is we've had CV joints, front wheel drive. CV joints will shatter after you tow enough loads. And when I said this is the second best towing rig on the list, I meant temporary towing. Yeah, just if it needs to do it once or twice to get you somewhere, this will do it easily. But if you want a dedicated towing rig, there are much better options out there. Their front-wheel drives and towing seldomly go together. Their front-wheel drives don't like towing things. This will do it if you're looking to do it only once or twice. And they are quite competent when they do. Before the CV joints go kapoom, they will tow a decent load. And they will tow it competently. Those 6 cylinders are quite snappy engines, quite torquey, quite powerful. For what you get, the Mitsubishi Magna is a very good car. You know, you get one that's done 300,000 Ks and throw $500 at it to a mechanic, you get something that'll do another 300,000 Ks. Just don't feed it E10. It doesn't like E10. Number 3. Toyota Camry. The amount of times I've seen a Toyota Camry loaded to the absolute guts, dragging its ass along the ground, towing a 4x4 box trailer full of more crap. If I had $1 every time I seen that, I'd probably have enough to buy myself a new Camry. These things are renowned for reliability. These are probably the best all-round bug-out vehicle on this list. It was number 3 because, well, it's an all-round. It doesn't really excel in any one area. And some of you are probably shouting, oh, reliability. But all these cars on the list are pretty much 5 out of 5, except for the Mitsubishi, that's 4.5. But this is probably the best all-round bug-out vehicle, bang for your buck, that you can buy. You know, you can tow with them, you can pack them full of crap, you can go thousands of kilometres, you know, you can find them all the time on Facebook Marketplace for like $1,000. Yeah, sometimes up to 300,000 kilometres. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter with these things. My pick of the bunch will be the 4-cylinder model. V6 is just more of the same, like a Mitsubishi Magna. It's just a nightmare to work on yourself. The 4-cylinders are just so much better. The 4-cylinder Camrys have just been proven so reliable time and time and time again, and fuel efficient. I was driving a mate's car from Newcastle to, where were we going? We were going to South Australia. We managed to do 900 k's to 1 tank of fuel. That was 2 of us in the car, and we weren't hanging around either. We were sitting on 120, 130, 140. And yeah, we did 900 k's to a tank of fuel. We were sweating by the time we got the 900 k's. We were looking for a fuel station. But it did it. It is pretty damn good on fuel. And the 4-cylinders have proven themselves reliable and easy to work on. Again, you throw $500 at it to a mechanic, and he'll give you something that will go as long as you need it to go for, with radio and everything. Bad points about a Toyota Camry. Well, nothing really comes to mind. I mean, unless you want to supercharge the crap out of the thing and go racing, or tow a caravan. You know, they're not really designed to tow a caravan. You could get the 6-cylinder model, but again, just like a bloody, might as well get the Magna. It'll be cheaper, and it'll do it for you. If you're a dead set Toyota fan, yeah, okay, get the V6 Camry, but I wouldn't bother. But yeah, there's not really that many bad points about a Toyota Camry. In fact, it's so good all round that it's actually made the list for the top 5 bug-in vehicles. You've got to check that out. Toyota Camry, you can get them for around about $1,000 to $2,000 on Facebook Marketplace, and they will just go and go and go. You can buy confidence, throw another $500 for radio, away you go. You're good to go. Number 2. And that is a AU or BA Falcon station wagon. These are absolutely legendary when it comes to reliability. You know, and this is the only one on the list where I say 500,000 Ks on the clock, just go ahead and buy it. These will do another 500,000 Ks easily. And, you know, parts are readily available. You can go on Facebook Marketplace, someone's wrecking a Falcon somewhere. Wreckers will have something up in the back, and mechanics, you know, they'll be able to service it for you in just an hour. If you're in a spot where you don't have a mechanic, and all you got is a workshop manual to work on, you know, everything's pretty straightforward on these motors. You know, it's all right there. You know, change out an alternator, right there. Change a water pump, right there. Change spark plugs, right there. The spark plug leads are a bit of a bitch, but you know, they're still. You can still work through it. You know, change out a water pump right there. Power steering pump right there. You can work your way through it easily in a grid down situation. Or if you can't get to a mechanic, everything's right there for you. You know, and mechanics will fix this for you easily. You know, again, rego, towing ability. 20 years ago, these were at the top of the list for caravanners. You know, you went out to the middle of nowhere, and every second car you seen was a Falcon station wagon towing behind it a bloody 5-bedroom bloody house. You know, they spend $200,000 on a caravan, and then say, "Oops, forgot to buy a car," and they'd buy a station wagon. They'd buy a Ford station wagon, and this thing would tow it absolutely everywhere across road trains will be overtaking these damn things. They'll be sitting on 80 kilometres per hour towing a friggin' mansion behind them. So they will do it. They will easily tow anything they want. And this is the only one on the list where I'd say, a dedicated tow rig. This could be a dedicated tow rig to you. And they've got leaf-sprung suspension in the rear that's tough as nails. It is a legendary bloody car. Talk about boot space as well. It's got the second most available boot space of any of them, including the station wagon versions of everything I've just talked about. Push the seats down and you've got a van, basically. And even if you don't push the seats down, you still got half a van. The amount of cargo capacity that these things have is beyond astounding. These things were absolutely so popular, in fact, that Ford had to stop making them. That's right. They had to stop making them because they were trying to sell another car that they poured billions of dollars into. Tried to sell it alongside the station wagon. People didn't want to buy this car, they wanted to buy a station wagon. But Ford put billions of dollars into this other car, which was called the Ford Territory. That doesn't make the list because the Ford Territory, unfortunately, has a problem with the ball joints. Every 6 months you've got to replace them. And as I discussed, Rego, you go to get it registered, they do the whole, test on the ball joints. It fails. New ball joints, thank you very much. So, and other things go wrong, like, just little things like switches and, gear selectors and just little annoying things on the Territory. But as reliability goes, the Territory is still way up there. It's just little annoying things that keep it off the list and put the station wagon ahead of it. The station wagons, nothing goes wrong with them. I've built a station wagon back from being virtually at the crusher. This one was basically, it was flopped. Everything was fine except for it had a smashed light, smashed bumper, couple of smashed windows, and the tyres were bald. I replaced all that. Absolutely nothing else needed. It passed straight through Rego. No, nothing else needed except for the ignition needed fixing. That's a common thing with these, but that's only $100 fix. Qualified mechanic can fix it quite easy. But bad points about an AU or a BA station wagon. They're quite heavy on fuel if you're just putting around town. That's what keeps them off the bug-in vehicle list. Bug out, they're perfectly fine. Their home is on the open road. That's where they love to be, and that's where they excel. On the open road, towing something stupid, like an 8-bedroom mansion. Around town, they can get a bit thirsty. That's pretty much the only thing wrong with one of these cars. Is they do get a bit thirsty, but like I said, the reliability of these engines is legendary. That's why taxis use them so often, because they just keep going. Like I said, 500,000 Ks for one of these motors is nothing. I've had a 500,000 K Falcon before and there was nothing wrong with it. I changed out the gearbox at 300,000 Ks and it just kept going. There was nothing wrong with it. The only reason why I don't have that Falcon today is because I didn't get on top of some rust and it died of cancer. I'd still have that Falcon today if it wasn't for the fact that cancer got it. But the motor was perfect. There was nothing wrong with the motor. It was still strong, it will still tow anything you want, and it was still thirsty around town. Like I said, 500,000 Ks, don't be afraid to buy a Falcon of 500,000 Ks, especially if all you're going to do is just keep it prepared to get out of town, or if you need something reliable to get out of town to another town thousands of kilometres away. This is one of the most reliable cars you will ever buy. The mechanics will fix these up easily and they'll have very little trouble passing rego. So Yeah, AU or BA Falcon station wagon. It's number 2. Number 1 on the list. And this might be a surprise to some, a shock to others, but it is, well, it's on the list for a reason. And that is a Toyota Tarago. And surprise, surprise, a Toyota made the list twice. I wonder why. These have just the same reliability as, its smaller cousin, the Toyota Camry. It'll go just as far. It is a bit more of a pain in the ass to work on yourself, being, a van. But you give it to a mechanic, and he'll fix it up easily for you. They'll pass a radio easy. They'll do as many Ks as you need them to do. And being rear-wheel drive, the one I'm thinking about at least, you got towing ability as well. These have been known to tow caravans and box trailers and even other cars at times. And even though it's not the most powerful on the list, you don't need to be in a big rush to get somewhere. If you're bugging out because you want to change the scenery, putt along, whatever. People can go around you. And don't forget, also, the Highway Patrol's second favourite food, right behind unregistered motor vehicles, is speeders. Again, they'll flip around, they'll break every road rule, know the man, come and get a speeder. Toyota Tarago. Push the seats down. If you don't have any kids, you've got a van to fit your entire life in. If you don't have a caravan or a pond hopper or a trailer to tow, you got yourself a van. So, and if you've got the kids, you've got room for them to move and, whatever. Bad points about Toyota Tarago. Well, being a van, they are an absolute pain in the ass to work on yourself. And the power is, power. But like I said, you don't need all that much to get, where you're going, really. Unless you're towing a mansion, which if you want a dedicated towing vehicle, go to number 2 slot. This is probably the best choice for anyone with kids or in general looking to bug out. Put their entire life into it, pack it to the roof and hit the road. They've got the most unrivaled cargo capacity. Once you push the seats down and get rid of the seats, whatever. And they can tow a decent load. Not as much as a Falcon, but still, not much can. But anyway, easy to repair for a mechanic. Unrivaled cargo capacity, towing ability, fuel efficiency, reliability. I don't think I can think of any any other cars that can do any of that. Well, maybe a Mitsubishi Star Wagon can do the same thing. But they're harder to find than a Toyota Tarago. I'm actually going to add to this list, equal number 1 to the Toyota Tarago, is a Toyota Hiace. There we go, there's Toyota 3 times. Yeah, Toyota Hiace, they're even more common than a Toyota Tarago. It depends on where you look, but if you can't find a Toyota Tarago, you can find a Toyota Hiace. Again, unrivaled cargo capacity. They can tow a load. They're reliable. They're fuel efficient. They'll go thousands of Ks. A mechanic can fix one easily with his eyes closed. I can't think of... I'm a Ford man, but the poor old BAU wagon just can't do what the Toyota Tarago can do. But the Toyota Tarago can't tow a mansion behind it either. But a lot of people can't afford a $200,000 bloody camper van. That's why a Toyota Tarago and Toyota Hiace, and of course Mitsubishi Star Wagon. That's why that's at number 1. Anyway, guys, if you can think of anything else that needs to go on the list, comment down below, and if you haven't done already, like and subscribe. I'm Project 33. Peace.